I won a forgotten galactic cruiser at an empty auction. Its interior revealed a stunning secret. Ethan Hayes had always been drawn to old things. Old machines, old buildings, old books. Anything that carried a story from the past. On Earth, his apartment was filled with small artifacts from history, but his true passion was the stars. He spent hours every day scanning interstellar auctions from his small terminal, hoping to find something rare, something forgotten. Tonight, there was an auction he could not ignore. It was held on a quiet orbital station far from any busy trade route. The station itself looked abandoned in the pictures, a cold ring of metal floating in the blackness of space. He tapped on the screen, looking at the ships listed for sale. Most were modern freighters or outdated cargo shuttles. They were ordinary and expensive, but then something caught his eye. One listing stood out, a galactic cruiser called Stellar Voyager. The name alone made him pause. The ship looked old, battered, and unremarkable in the image, but there was something about it that made his heart beat faster. No one else seemed interested. The starting bid was low, almost laughable for a cruiser of any kind. Ethan leaned back in his chair and rubbed his face. It could be a junk heap, he said to himself, though he already knew he had to try. The auction was in a few hours. He made his preparations, checking the balance in his account, ensuring he had enough to win without breaking himself financially. For once, he did not care about the risk. The station was quiet when Ethan docked his small shuttle. The corridors were empty, echoing softly under his boots. The auction hall was not much better. A few other bidders milled about, their faces hidden behind visors or masks. The auctioneer was a small figure, almost robotic, with a calm, monotone voice that carried through the empty room. The next item, the auctioneer said, is the Stellar Voyager, forgotten by time, abandoned in orbit near the Dalen sector.
Minimal records exist. Start bidding at 50,000 credits.
Ethan's fingers hovered over his device. 50,000 was nothing for a ship like this, if it worked at all. The other bidders seemed uninterested. Most whispered to themselves, probably thinking it was worthless. Ethan took a deep breath. 55,000, he said, almost under his breath. A few heads turned, curious at the sound of someone bidding. The auctioneer acknowledged him with a nod. The silence returned, broken only by the faint hum of the station's lights. 60,000, another bidder said, finally showing interest. Ethan's pulse quickened. He raised his voice this time. 70,000. The bidder hesitated, then dropped out. No one else bid. You have won the Stellar Voyager, the auctioneer said, almost as if stating a fact rather than celebrating a victory. Ethan felt a rush of excitement and disbelief. He had done it, against all odds. He had won a galactic cruiser that no one else wanted. The walk to the docking bay where the Stellar Voyager rested was tense. The ship was larger than Ethan had imagined. Its hull was scratched, and some panels looked like they had been patched haphazardly. Rust or corrosion clung to the edges, yet even in its worn state, the ship had a strange elegance. It was big, but not cumbersome. Strong, yet silent. Ethan activated the docking clamps and approached the airlock. He had a small kit with him, tools he had collected over the years for situations just like this. He double-checked the pressure seals, opened the hatch, and stepped inside. The interior was not what he expected. The lights flickered at first, then stabilized. The walls were smooth with panels that glowed faintly in blue. There was no dust or debris like he thought there would be. It felt as if the ship had been waiting for someone to return. He stepped cautiously, exploring the corridors. "Hello," he called out, his voice echoing. No response came, just the soft hum of energy flowing through the ship. Then a small panel lit up in front of him. A calm, gentle voice spoke. "Welcome, Ethan Hayes. I am Aurora, the ship's AI. Activation sequence complete."
You know my name?
"I have access to auction records and the transfer logs. You are the registered owner." Ethan shook his head in disbelief. He had expected an empty, dead ship. Instead, it seemed alive, aware, and welcoming. "Aurora, right. Can you Of course," Aurora said. "Follow me." As Ethan moved through the cruiser, he noticed the corridors were wider than normal ships of this class. The walls were lined with rooms that looked like cabins, labs, and storage areas. In the center of the ship, the bridge glowed softly. Screens and consoles lit up as he approached. Everything seemed functional, though untouched for decades. "This ship, it's incredible," Ethan whispered, running his hands over the control panels. "Why would anyone leave it behind?" Aurora's voice was calm, almost neutral. "The Stellar Voyager was designed for deep space exploration. Its last recorded mission ended abruptly. Records of its purpose were classified and lost over time. It was considered obsolete by current standards, though its systems remain advanced." Ethan's mind raced. Obsolete? Advanced? He could not understand how something could be both. Yet, standing there, he felt a surge of hope. This was not just an old ship. It was something special. He wandered into the captain's quarters. The room was spacious, with a large viewing window looking out into space. A sealed door caught his eye. It had a coated lock, its panel dark but humming with energy. "What's behind that door?" he asked Aurora. "It is restricted," Aurora said. "The contents are classified. Access requires authorization codes no longer in current databases."
Authorization codes, huh? So it's a mystery.
"I like mysteries." He spent the next few hours exploring, learning to navigate the ship. Aurora guided him, explaining systems, engines, life support, and the bridge controls. By the time he finished, he realized the Stellar Voyager was far more than just a ship. It was a vault of knowledge, a relic of a forgotten age. As night fell on the station, Ethan sat by the window in the captain's quarters, staring at the stars. The galaxy was vast, full of secrets, and somehow he had stumbled into one of the biggest. He could feel the weight of it pressing gently on his shoulders, a mix of excitement and fear. Aurora spoke again. "Ethan, there are signals nearby." "Ethan, there are signals nearby. Unknown ships. They are not listed in any registry. Unknown to most human records. Unknown ships? Here? Now? Yes. They are approaching your position," Aurora said. "I advise caution." Ethan's heart raced. He had won a forgotten galactic cruiser, and it had revealed a secret even more astonishing. But he realized he had no idea what was waiting for him beyond the station, or what this ship was truly capable of. He spent the night exploring, reading logs, and trying to make sense of what he had found. Aurora revealed fragments of information, missions to unexplored sectors, strange encounters with civilizations no longer known, and hints at technology that humanity had not yet rediscovered. For the first time in his life, Ethan felt that he had truly stepped into a bigger world, one filled with danger, mystery, and the chance to prove what humans could do when faced with the unknown. As the orbital station's lights dimmed for the night, Ethan prepared to spend the first night aboard the Stellar Voyager. The sealed door in the captain's quarters whispered possibilities. He could not resist it, though he did not yet have the means to unlock it. A secret lay behind it, one that might change everything he thought he knew about humanity and the stars. He leaned back in the captain's chair, staring at the stars that stretched endlessly beyond the window. The galaxy seemed quiet, but Ethan knew it was only waiting. Waiting for someone brave or foolish enough to step forward. He smiled, a little nervously, but with a growing excitement. For tonight, he was alone. Tomorrow, he would learn what it truly meant to command a ship that had been lost to time. And somewhere deep in the shadows of the stellar Voyager, a secret waited, silent and patient, ready to reveal itself when the time was right. His mind was alive with possibilities, with visions of distant stars, forgotten colonies, and technologies no one had touched in centuries. He thought of the auction, the quiet hall, and the moment he had won the ship. It felt like destiny. Aurora's soft hum filled the cabin, a quiet reminder that he was not alone. The ship had chosen him, in a way. Perhaps it had waited for someone who could understand its value, someone who could unlock its potential, and Ethan, despite his doubts, felt ready. Outside, the stars continued to shine, and somewhere, far away, unknown ships moved through the darkness, their intentions hidden. The adventure had just begun. Ethan Hayes had won a forgotten galactic cruiser at an empty auction. He had stepped inside, and its interior had already revealed a stunning secret. But the story of what the stellar Voyager truly held, and what it would demand of him, was only just beginning. Ethan woke slowly as the soft hum of the stellar Voyager filled the cabin. The ship seemed alive in a quiet way, as if it had sensed his excitement from the night before. He stretched and walked to the viewing window. The orbital station where he had docked was now a tiny circle of lights behind him, fading as the ship's engines came to life for testing.
"Good morning, Ethan," Aurora said softly. "All systems are functional."
Life support, engines, communications, navigation. I recommend a full diagnostic before departure from the station.
Ethan nodded. "I'll do that, Aurora.
But first, I need to understand this ship better."
You said it was designed for deep space missions? Yes, Aurora replied. The Stellar Voyager is not just a cruiser.
It is a vessel built for exploration and preservation. Its purpose was to travel beyond known human space, gather knowledge, and protect humanity's lost heritage. Ethan's eyes widened. Lost heritage?
What do you mean? Aurora's lights flickered, as if she hesitated. Much of human civilization in the early colonized sectors was destroyed or lost.
This ship carries information, technology, and even genetic samples from those early colonies. It was meant to preserve humanity's potential until it could be safely used again. Ethan felt a thrill mixed with unease. He had thought he bought an old, useless ship. Instead, he held the key to a forgotten chapter of human history. He began the diagnostics, checking every system in order. Why? The engines roared quietly, not like modern engines, but smooth and precise. Life support was far more advanced than what he had expected. Aurora guided him, giving detailed instructions and showing him hidden compartments filled with supplies, repair tools, and databanks. Hours passed quickly. Ethan felt like he was waking a giant from a long sleep. The ship was dormant for decades, yet its systems were still alive and capable. Every room he entered told a story. Laboratories with chemical analyzers, storage rooms with strange energy cores, and maps of sectors far beyond current human reach. "Ethan," Aurora said, "I have accessed the mission logs. Would you like me to show them?" The screen flickered and loaded a series of holographic files, images of distant planets, old colonies, and even strange ships appeared. Text scrolled across the screen in human language, but many words were outdated, from centuries ago. Why was this hidden? Ethan asked, more to himself than to Aurora.
These missions were classified. Only a few records survived after the destruction of early colonies.
Most humans believe the knowledge was lost forever. Ethan's mind raced. Lost colonies, hidden knowledge, forgotten ships. This was more than he had ever dreamed of, and somehow the ship had chosen him to find it. He continued exploring, and then he returned to the sealed door in the captain's quarters. It hummed faintly, a low vibration that seemed to call him. "Aurora," he said, "what's behind this door? Can we open it?" Aurora's lights dimmed slightly. "Access requires an authorization code. The original crew is no longer present. The system is protected to prevent misuse of its contents. It is not recommended to force the lock." Ethan frowned. "Not recommended, huh? I'm not sure I want to wait. This ship is full of secrets, and I need to know what's hidden. There has to be a way." Aurora was silent for a moment. Then slowly she said, "There is an override, but it requires combining my system with your input and reasoning. I can assist you in a puzzle sequence designed to test the operator's judgment." Ethan's heart beat faster. "A puzzle sequence? All right, let's do it." For the next several hours, Ethan worked through the sequences Aurora presented. It was a series of logical and mathematical problems combined with ethical choices. Every decision he made was analyzed by Aurora. It felt like the ship was judging him, testing whether he was worthy to know its secrets. Finally, with a soft chime, the door unlocked. Ethan's hands trembled as he pushed it open. Inside, the room was bathed in soft blue light. Rows of containers lined the walls, each sealed with energy barriers. In the center of the room was a pedestal with a glowing sphere suspended in midair. "This is incredible," Ethan whispered. Aurora's voice broke the silence. "You are correct. This room contains the genetic archive of humanity's early colonies. It holds biological samples, DNA records, and data on lost technologies. It is a preservation of humanity's potential." Ethan walked closer, reaching out to touch the glowing sphere. A holographic projection rose from it, showing humans from long ago. Families, explorers, children, all smiling and alive. The images shifted to colonies being built, cities on strange planets, and labs filled with inventions far beyond current understanding. "They really did this. They really tried to survive," Ethan said softly. "All of it. Lost?" Aurora replied. "Much of it was lost. Wars, alien threats, natural disasters, and neglect caused the disappearance of early colonies. The Stellar Voyager's mission was to protect and preserve, to ensure that when humanity was ready again, it could reclaim its heritage." Ethan felt a mix of awe and responsibility. He was no longer just a man who bought a ship at an empty auction. He had become the guardian of something far greater than he had imagined. He spent the next day organizing the archive. Aurora helped him catalog the data, ensuring that every record, every sample was stored safely. He discovered designs for energy systems, propulsion, medicine, and even weapons far more advanced than current human technology. "We're not just exploring the ship. We're exploring humanity's past, and maybe its future." Aurora guided them through the ship's capabilities. The Stellar Voyager was equipped with weapons, energy shields, stealth systems, and faster-than-light engines. It was faster, smarter, and stronger than anything in current human fleets. Ethan realized that if used wisely, the ship could give humanity an edge they had never had before. But with power came responsibility. The unknown ships still loomed in the distance. Aurora analyzed their patterns. "They are not human," she said softly. "Their technology is advanced. They have been observing humanity's movements. Their intentions are uncertain, but caution is advised."
Ethan frowned. "So, they're hostile?" "They may be," Aurora replied.
Based on analysis, engagement is possible. Avoidance may be safer, but learning about them could provide an advantage. The team worked together to prepare the Stellar Voyager for exploration and potential conflict. Clara reinforced the engines and optimized energy distribution. Owen practiced maneuvers with the ship's navigation system. Lily cataloged the genetic and technological archives, making notes of everything that might help humanity. Ethan coordinated the efforts, learning how to be a captain in a way he had never imagined. Days passed as they trained and explored the ship. They unlocked hidden compartments containing old drones, advanced sensors, and even small automated defense units. Aurora explained their functions, and the crew adapted quickly. They were becoming more than just a team. They were a unit capable of facing unknown dangers. One day, while exploring the lower decks, Ethan stumbled upon a cryogenic chamber. It was unlike anything he had seen before. Inside were several human figures perfectly preserved, their features calm and peaceful. What is this?" Ethan asked, turning to Aurora. "These are the preserved pioneers," Aurora replied. "Humans from early colonies frozen in suspended animation. They were part of a program to preserve knowledge and skills for future generations." Ethan felt a chill. "They've been here all this time, waiting?" "Yes," Aurora said. "They will awaken only when humanity is ready, or when conditions require their expertise." Clara and Lily joined him, eyes wide with awe. "This is incredible," Clara whispered. "We could learn from them, from their experience." Owen nodded. "And maybe they could help us if things get dangerous out there." Ethan took a deep breath. "We're not just exploring the galaxy. We're protecting humanity's past and preparing for its future. We need to be ready for whatever is out there." The next few weeks were a mixture of training, exploration, and preparation. The crew grew closer, learning each other's strengths and weaknesses. Clara could repair almost anything. Owen could pilot through impossible maneuvers. Lily could understand complex biological and chemical systems. And Ethan was learning to lead, to make decisions that could affect not just their lives, but the future of humanity. Then, one evening, the sensors picked up activity nearby. Strange ships, moving deliberately and with purpose, were closing in. Aurora analyzed them. "These are the same unknown ships detected previously. They are closer now and appear to be observing our trajectory." Ethan's heart pounded. "We need to know what they want."
Can we communicate?
Aurora's lights flickered.
Attempts at communication may be interpreted as aggression.
"Caution is advised. Observation is currently the safest course." "All right, let's watch them. Learn what we can." For hours they observed the ships. Their movements were precise, coordinated, and alien. The crew speculated on their origin. "Maybe they're scouts," Owen suggested. "Or spies." Lily studied the energy signatures. "They're using technology we've never seen before."
faster engines, energy shields, and something else. Something that interferes with long-range scans. Clara frowned. They're smart. We need to be smarter. Ethan leaned back in his chair. We have the stellar Voyager. We have knowledge, skills, and the chance to do something no human has done before. Ooh, we can't run. We have to be ready. The crew worked together to develop strategies. They practiced maneuvers, tested weapon systems, and ran simulations of possible encounters. The stellar Voyager responded with precision, as if it understood their need to survive. Aurora offered advice, but the crew made the final decisions, learning to trust their own judgment. Then, during a routine exploration of the ship's labs, Lily discovered something remarkable. Hidden beneath a floor panel was a small data cube containing information about the Vorath, a hostile alien race that had attacked early human colonies. The records were fragmented but detailed. They described the Vorath's tactics, their weapons, and their weaknesses. Ethan read the records, his mind racing. "This is it," he said. "This is why the stellar Voyager exists. It wasn't just for preservation. It's a weapon, a tool, and a guide."
We can use this knowledge to protect humanity.
Clara studied the cube. "And we can improve our ship using it. Energy shields, propulsion, maybe even weapons. Finally, we're not just sitting ducks. We can fight back. But we have to be careful. The Vorath are dangerous. We can't underestimate them." Ethan stood, feeling a mixture of fear and excitement. We have a chance to give humanity an edge, to reclaim what was lost. And it starts here, with us, on this ship. They spent days integrating the new knowledge into the stellar Voyager. Shields were strengthened, engines optimized, and weapon systems enhanced. The crew ran simulations, tested every system, and prepared for what was coming. The unknown ships were still out there, and now they had reason to believe they were not the only threat. Then, one morning, the sensors detected multiple signals approaching rapidly. Aurora analyzed them. "Ethan, these ships are moving faster than anything we have encountered. They are likely reconnaissance units, scouting human territories. Engagement may be unavoidable." Ethan clenched his fists. "We knew this day would come. We can't hide forever. If they want to fight, we'll be ready. But we'll fight smart, with every advantage we have. Stellar Voyager is ready. Shields at full capacity. Weapons systems online. Let's give them a show they'll never forget." Lily adjusted the sensor arrays, "and let's make sure we survive to tell the story." Ethan took a deep breath. This is it, the beginning of humanity's return. But we've learned from the past, prepared for the present, and now we face the future. Aurora's lights pulsed softly. "I am ready, Ethan. Together we will see this through." As the unknown ships drew closer, the stellar Voyager gleamed in the starlight, a forgotten cruiser, now awake and alive. Ethan's crew was ready, trained, and united. Humanity's hidden edge, preserved for centuries, was about to be revealed. And for the first time, Ethan understood what it meant to command a ship that could change the course of history. The stars stretched endlessly ahead, full of danger, mystery, and opportunity. And the stellar Voyager, once forgotten, now carried humanity's hope into the unknown. Absolutely. Here's part 4, the thrilling conclusion of your HFY story. Written in third person, simple and basic English, around 1,600 words. The stellar Voyager drifted through the black of space, its engines humming quietly, ready for action.
Ethan Hayes sat in the captain's chair, his hand steady on the controls, but his heart raced. The unknown ships were closing fast. He could see them on the sensors now. Sleek, dark vessels moving with precision, almost like shadows against the stars. Aurora's calm voice filled the bridge. "Ethan, the ships are identified as reconnaissance units of the Vorath. Their fleet is larger than expected. Engagement is likely. I recommend tactical maneuvers immediately." Ethan nodded. "Understood. Let's show them humans are not so easy to scare." He turned to his crew. Clara was at the engines, hands flying over the controls. Owen gripped the navigation console, eyes focused. Lily monitored the sensors, analyzing the enemy ships and their movements. And, together, they were ready. "Shields at full," Ethan commanded. "Weapons ready. Stealth systems on standby." Aurora's lights pulsed. All systems optimal. Tactical advantage is possible through coordination and use of ships' hidden capabilities. The Vorath scouts opened fire first. Energy beams streaked across space, targeting the stellar Voyager. Ethan maneuvered quickly, ducking between asteroids in a nearby belt. The shields flared, absorbing the initial blasts. Clara shouted from the engine console, "We can handle this. Powering up secondary thrusters for evasive maneuvers. Let's make them chase ghosts." Ethan guided the ship with precise movements, dodging and weaving. The stellar Voyager responded like a living creature, shifting and adapting to his commands. Aurora fed tactical advice, predicting the enemy's next moves. The first encounter was brief, but revealing. The Vorath ships were fast but rigid. They relied on numbers and technology, but they lacked creativity. Ethan saw a chance. "Clara, power the stealth drives. Owen, get us behind that cluster of ships. Lily, monitor their energy flows." Within moments, the stellar Voyager vanished from the enemy sensors. Ethan and his crew had become shadows, slipping through the fleet unseen. "Now!" Ethan shouted. They struck quickly, using the ship's weapons and drones to disable several Vorath ships. Energy beams fired with precision, and small automated drones moved silently, sabotaging the enemy vessels. The Vorath were strong, but the stellar Voyager's combination of human ingenuity and advanced technology was stronger. Now, Lily watched the enemy's movements on her console. "They're falling into our trap." They didn't expect tactics, only force. Owen laughed. "That's the difference between humans and aliens, kid." "We improvise, Clara. Work tirelessly, keeping the engines stable despite the heavy maneuvers." "The shields are holding!" "Keep moving." Ethan's mind raced. He realized they could not defeat the Vorath fleet entirely. There were too many, but they could fight smart, slow them down, and gather information to protect humanity. Aurora's lights pulsed brighter. "Ethan, the genetic archive can be deployed in a limited activation. The preserved pioneers can assist with strategy, analysis, and skills. Their knowledge may turn the tide." "Are you sure? Waking them now could be risky?" "Yes," Aurora said firmly. "Their purpose is to protect and guide humanity when the threat arises. The Vorath fleet qualifies." "All right, activate the archive." In a flash of blue light, the cryogenic chambers opened. The pioneers stirred, awakening after centuries of sleep. They were disoriented at first, but quickly adapted, guided by Aurora's interface. Each one had skills from early human colonies: strategy, engineering, medicine, and leadership.
"This is amazing," Ethan whispered.
"They really can help us." The pioneers moved quickly, taking control of systems, analyzing enemy patterns, and improving the ship's defenses. With their knowledge, The stellar Voyager became faster, stronger, and more precise. The Vorath attacks began to fail, their energy beams dissipating harmlessly against enhanced shields. Ethan led the ship in a daring series of maneuvers, using the Pioneers' strategies to outwit the enemy. They used stealth jumps, sudden reversals, and energy diversions to confuse the Vorath fleet. Each strike was coordinated, precise, and unexpected. Owen laughed as he guided the ship. "This is like a game, Ethan. And we're winning." Clara smiled, her hands flying over the engines. "We've never had this much control before." "The ship responds to everything we do." Lily's eyes shone with excitement. "And we're learning so much from the Pioneers. This knowledge, humanity has never had this kind of advantage." Ethan felt a surge of pride. We're not just surviving. We're showing what humans can do when we work together, when we combine intelligence, courage, and technology. The Vorath realized they were outmatched. Their formations broke, their attacks became chaotic. They were strong, but they had never faced an enemy that could think differently, adapt quickly, and use the environment creatively. Ethan saw an opening. "Aurora, target their command vessel. Clara, power the main cannons. Owen, get us in position. Lily, provide sensor data. Let's end this." The stellar Voyager moved like lightning. Its weapons fired in precise sequences, disabling the Vorath command ship. The remaining vessels scattered, retreating into the darkness of space. The battle was over. The stellar Voyager, a forgotten ship from a long-lost human era, had defeated a superior alien fleet through strategy, innovation, and human ingenuity. The crew cheered. Clara hugged Ethan. Owen slapped his back. Lily smiled, tears in her eyes. Even the awakened Pioneers looked proud, their purpose fulfilled. Ethan sat in the captain's chair, breathing heavily.
"We did it," he said softly. "We actually did it."
Aurora's voice was calm but satisfied. Humans have demonstrated resilience, creativity, and courage. The stellar Voyager has fulfilled its purpose. Humanity's legacy is preserved and ready for the future. The Pioneers returned to their chambers, their task complete. Ethan felt a deep sense of gratitude. They had given humanity a chance, and he had been chosen to lead it. For days, the crew worked to repair the ship and study the Vorath technology they had captured. They discovered weapons, energy systems, and navigation technology far beyond current human understanding. With this knowledge, they could rebuild lost colonies and defend humanity against future threats. Ethan knew their journey was just beginning. The galaxy was vast and full of unknown dangers, but now humanity had a hidden edge, a secret weapon in the stellar Voyager, and the courage to face whatever came next. He looked out at the stars, feeling a sense of wonder and purpose. "We started with an auction, a forgotten ship, and a mystery. Now we have the future in our hands. We'll protect humanity, learn from the past, and make sure our species thrives among the stars." Clara came up behind him. "You did good, Ethan." "We did good. This ship, it's more than just metal. It's hope. And we get to write the next chapter." Lily nodded. "A chapter for all of humanity." Ethan smiled. "Then let's make it a story worth telling." The stellar Voyager glided silently into the unknown, a beacon of human resilience and ingenuity. Its hull, once forgotten, now carried humanity's greatest secrets, its hidden edge, and the courage of those willing to fight for the future. Somewhere, out in the darkness, other civilizations watched. The galaxy was no longer quiet for humans. They had awakened, And they were ready. Ethan leaned back in his chair, watching the stars. He knew challenges would come, but he also knew humans could rise to meet them. With the stellar Voyager, the awakened pioneers, and his loyal crew, humanity had a chance to reclaim its place in the galaxy. But the adventure was far from over. There were mysteries to solve, worlds to explore, and threats to face. But for the first time, Ethan felt confident. Humanity was no longer lost or forgotten. It had returned, smarter, stronger, and ready to shine among the stars. And the stellar Voyager, once abandoned and hidden in an empty auction, would lead the way.